Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're going deep today, really deep, into the nature of self, who we really are.
Oh, this is gonna be good.
It is. We're diving into the work of David Parrish. He's a meditation teacher with some pretty radical ideas.
Well, I've been looking forward to this one.
Me too. His stuff is really thought-provoking. So to kick things off, Parrish wants us to take a close look at, that voice in your head, that constant chatter we all have going on?
Yeah, that inner monologue.
Right. Parrish says we often mistake that, like that thought process, for our actual lives.
It's like we're so caught up in our heads, we miss out on, actually experiencing life.
So it's like we're living in this dreamlike state, kind of,
Yeah.
disconnected from what's really happening around us.
Exactly. And Parrish uses a simple example to illustrate this. Imagine someone asks, how are you doing?
Mm.
Most of us, we just launch into a story
Yeah.
about what we're thinking or feeling in that moment.
Like, oh, I'm stressed about work, or I'm worried about this thing.
Exactly. But that's not really how we're being. It's just a thought.
I get that. It's like we identify so strongly with our thoughts and feelings that they become our whole reality.
And this is where things get interesting. Parrish connects this disconnect from our true selves to some pretty big societal problems.
Oh, like what?
Well, he sees it as a root cause of, the rising rates of stress and
And
anxiety.
even things like violence.
Yeah. He argues that when we're so disconnected from who we really are, we become more susceptible to fear, anger, and all those negative emotions.
So this true self, this is what Parrish calls the natural state.
Right. It's who we are at our core, before the personality forms, before language, before all the stories we tell ourselves.
So kind of like a baby. They're just being, no mental baggage.
Exactly. Think about a baby's pure awareness, that sense of wonder and presence.
It's like they're fully immersed in the moment,
Yeah,
not caught up in their heads.
right. And Parrish argues that this natural state, it's still within us. It's just buried under layers of conditioning.
And identification with our personalities.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. You're saying we create our personalities. I always thought that was just who we are.
Well, that's what's so fascinating about Parrish's work. He describes the personality as a mask that forms around age 2.
We're on age 2.
Yeah, when we develop language and start, constructing a sense of self. But he's adamant that this personality, it's not real in the deepest sense.
So it's like a construct.
It's a collection of thoughts, beliefs, and patterns
Mhm.
that we've mistaken for our true identity.
Hold on. Are you saying my personality, like the me I think I am, it's basically an illusion?
That's what Parrish is suggesting. And to illustrate this, he uses a really interesting thought experiment. Think about someone with amnesia.
Amnesia. Okay.
They lose their memories, their personality, right?
Yeah.
But they still exist.
So there's something deeper there, something beyond the personality.
Exactly. This points to the idea of a core self, a deeper you that exists beyond the constructed personality.
It's like we've been tricked into believing in a ghost.
You got it.
This phantom personality running the show. And we've bought into the idea that it's who we are.
And this idea of the phantom self, it ties into a concept from Buddhism called the hungry ghost.
Oh, the hungry ghost. I've heard that term before. Honestly, I don't really get it.
It's basically this being that's constantly seeking satisfaction, always wanting more, but never finding true fulfillment.
Why not?
Because it's operating from a false sense of self, this phantom personality we've been talking about.
So it's like we're chasing money, possessions, relationships, thinking these things will make us happy.
Yeah.
But really, it's just the hungry ghost of our personality driving us.
That's a great way to put it. And the thing is, this pursuit of happiness through external things, it's failing miserably.
Even though we have more stuff than ever before.
Right. Despite all our wealth and advancements, mental health struggles are on the rise.
Yeah, that's true.
And this is exactly what Parrish points to. He says we need to shift our focus inward, move beyond the personality, and reconnect with our natural state. That's where true well-being lies.
Okay, I'm with you so far. But what does this natural state actually feel like? How do we know if we've tapped into it?
Imagine feeling a sense of wholeness and contentment. That doesn't depend on anything outside yourself.
Not even on, like, winning the lottery or finding the perfect partner.
Nope. It's about discovering a deeper level of peace that exists beneath the fluctuations of the personality.
That sounds incredible. But how do we access it? How do we actually get there?
That's where things get really interesting. Parrish suggests we need to let our personality die.
Wait, when? Die? That sounds a bit intense, doesn't it?
I know it sounds drastic, but stick with me here. He's not saying we need to become emotionless robots or erase our personalities completely.
Okay, good. because I kind of like my personality sometimes. But seriously, what does he mean by letting the personality die?
It's about detaching from the belief that this personality, these thoughts and patterns, are who we truly are at our core.
So we can still use the personality, but we're not ruled by it anymore. Okay, I think I'm starting to get it. But how do we actually do this? How do we detach from the personality?
Well, Parrish points to several practices
Yeah.
that can help us cultivate this detachment, and that's what we'll explore next.
So we're on this quest to, like, detach from the personality, reconnect with our natural state, all that good
Yeah.
stuff. What are some of the practices Parrish talks about?
Well, one of the most powerful tools is meditation.
Meditation.
Right.
I've heard a lot about it, but honestly, I've always struggled to, like, stick with it.
I hear that a lot.
It just seems so still.
Yeah.
Like, how does sitting around doing nothing help us detach from the personality?
It might seem counterintuitive, but that stillness is key. See, meditation isn't about emptying your mind or stopping thoughts altogether.
It's not.
No.
Yeah.
It's more about creating space between those thoughts, about learning to observe them without getting, swept away by them.
So it's like training a muscle, kind of. The more we
Mm.
practice observing our thoughts, the better we get at not identifying with them so strongly.
Exactly. And as we become more adept at observing our thoughts, something really interesting starts to happen. We begin to glimpse that space between thoughts, that quiet awareness that's always present,
Even when our minds are, like, racing.
even amidst the mental chatter.
And that quiet awareness, that's the natural state.
You got it. It's like peeling back the layers of an onion.
Oh, I like that analogy.
As we practice meditation, we gradually shed those layers of conditioning, those limiting beliefs and patterns that have kept us trapped in the personality.
Okay, starting to see how this works.
Mm-hmm.
But is meditation the only way to connect with the natural state?
Not at all. Meditation's a great starting point. But Parrish also emphasizes the importance of self-inquiry.
Self-inquiry, what does that even mean?
It's about becoming a curious observer of your own mind.
Oh,
It's about asking yourself questions like, why do I react this way? Or where does this belief come from?
so it's like exploring the root of your thoughts, beliefs, patterns,
Exact.
but without judgment, right?
Right.
Because it's so easy to get caught up in self-criticism,
It is.
especially when we're examining our own, shortcomings.
Yeah. The key is to approach it with curiosity and compassion.
So it's not about beating ourselves up. It's about understanding ourselves better.
Exactly. And as you become more aware, you start to gain a sense of choice.
A sense of choice.
You're no longer a slave to those old patterns and beliefs.
You can actually change them.
You can start to rewrite the script, choose new ways of thinking and being.
That's pretty powerful stuff.
Mm.
But it also sounds like a lot of work.
It's a process, for sure. It doesn't happen overnight.
Like questioning every thought and belief I have. That seems exhausting.
It can be, yeah. But remember, the goal isn't to berate yourself for having certain thoughts or beliefs.
Right.
It's simply to become more aware of them.
To see them for what they are.
Temporary mental constructs, not the ultimate truth of who you are.
Okay, that makes it feel less daunting. So we've got meditation, self-inquiry, any other tools in the toolbox for escaping the personality trap?
Well, Parrish also talks a lot about mindfulness.
Mindfulness, right. Everyone's talking about mindfulness these days.
Yeah, it's become a bit of a buzzword.
But isn't that just another word for meditation?
Not exactly. While mindfulness is a key aspect of meditation, it can also be practiced in everyday life.
Oh, okay. So how do we bring mindfulness into our daily routines?
Yeah.
Like, I can't exactly sit on a meditation cushion while I'm at work.
Right. Of course not.
So what does it look like?
It's about bringing a quality of awareness to whatever you're doing, being fully present in each moment, whether you're washing dishes, having a conversation, stuck in traffic, whatever it may be.
So instead of letting my mind race ahead to all the things I need to do later,
Yeah.
I just focus on the experience of, like, washing the dishes.
Exactly. Feeling the warm water, the soap suds, the movement of your hands.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. It's about bringing your full attention to the sensory experience, to the present moment.
And by doing that, we're training our minds to detach from the thought stream.
Yeah.
This is starting to make a lot of sense. But what's the end goal here? Like, what happens when we successfully let the personality die? Or at least, quiet down a bit?
Well, according to Parrish, it opens us up to a whole new way of experiencing life.
In what way?
It allows us to tap into a deeper level of peace, joy, and connection.
It's pretty good to me.
It's about moving from a state of lack and striving to a state of abundance and fulfillment.
Abundance and fulfillment. I like the sound of that. But I have to admit, I'm still a bit skeptical. I mean, this all sounds great in theory, but is it really possible to live like that in the real world, with all the stress and demands of modern life?
That's a valid question, and it's one that we'll explore further as we delve into the transformative potential of connecting with our natural state.
So we're talking about this idea of detaching from the personality, tapping into this deeper sense of well-being. But I keep coming back to this question. Can we really live like this in the real world? I mean, bills got to get paid, work is stressful, relationships are messy. How do we maintain this natural state amidst all the chaos?
That's the big question, right? And the thing is, we don't maintain the natural state. We remember it's always there.
Always there.
Yeah, like a deep well of peace and clarity within us.
So it's less about achieving a constant state of bliss and more about like accessing that peace whenever we need it.
Exactly. Cultivating a sense of inner resilience,
Yeah.
an ability to navigate the ups and downs without getting completely swept away.
Okay, yeah. That would be pretty amazing. Imagine handling stress without getting totally overwhelmed
Yeah.
or approaching challenges with like a sense of calm.
That's exactly what Parrish is talking about. He says when we're connected to our natural state, we experience a fundamental shift in our relationship to everything.
Okay, how so?
We don't see challenges as threats anymore, but as opportunities for growth.
Interesting.
We don't feel the need to control everything
Yeah.
because we trust in a deeper intelligence guiding us.
It's like moving from a mindset of fear and scarcity to a mindset of trust and abundance.
Exactly. And the cool thing is, this shift isn't about denying our human experience.
So we still feel emotions. We still go through tough times.
Absolutely. But there's a sense of spaciousness around those experiences.
Graciousness. But
We're not defined by them anymore.
so I can still get angry or frustrated, but it doesn't like take over my whole day.
Right. It's like the emotion passes through you like a wave rather than knocking you off your feet.
Oh, I like that image.
And because you're not so identified with those emotions, you're less likely to, react in habitual, destructive ways.
That makes a lot of sense, especially when it comes to relationships.
Oh, absolutely.
Things can get so heated sometimes.
Yeah, and the more we cultivate this detachment, the more we open ourselves up to experiencing the world through the lens of our natural state.
Which is characterized by
Qualities like unconditional love, compassion, interconnectedness.
unconditional love. Wow, that's a big one.
It is.
I get it in theory, but it's hard to like wrap my head around what that actually feels like.
Parrish suggests that unconditional love arises naturally when we let go of the illusion of separation.
The illusion of separation.
Yeah, when we stop seeing ourselves as isolated individuals
Yeah.
and recognize we're all part of this interconnected web of consciousness.
So it's like seeing the world through a wider lens, right?
Exactly. Recognizing that we're all connected, even in our differences.
And when we experience that connection, that sense of oneness,
Unconditional love just flows.
it's not something we have to force.
It simply is.
That's pretty profound. Makes me think about how much of our suffering comes from feeling alone, isolated, separate. What if by connecting with our natural state, we could actually heal that sense of separation?
That's a beautiful insight, and it's at the heart of Parrish's message. He believes that by waking up to our true nature, we can transform our own lives and create a more loving and compassionate world.
That's inspiring. I think you've done a fantastic job explaining all of this. And I'm definitely feeling inspired to explore some of these practices, meditation, self-inquiry, mindfulness, see where they lead.
It's been a pleasure diving deep with you, and to everyone listening, we encourage you to explore these ideas further. See what resonates for you. Remember, it's a journey, not a destination.
So be kind to yourself, be patient, and keep diving deep. That's all for today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us, everyone.